Hello everyone, my name is Ishan Jerry and I'm from class S2A. Today, I'm going to be sharing with all of you about some ways in which sustainability can be achieved from a consumer's perspective with regards to the use of plastics. In school, I have always heard that plastic pollution is a huge problem right now, and I was intrigued by it. So I decided to try to find some ways on how consumers like us can contribute to solving this problem. While doing my research, I found out that plastic is the fourth highest type of waste generated in Singapore, with over 1 million tons of plastic waste generated in 2022 itself. However, only 6% of this plastic waste is recycled, and the remaining 944,000 tons, which comprises of single-use and reusable plastics, are just disposed of. I also found out that according to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, an estimated 20 million metric tons of plastic litter ends up in the environment and pollutes it every year. Now, for some solutions I found. The first solution I found was recycling. When we recycle plastic, plastic is sorted and cleaned before being shredded into flakes or melted to form pellets. These smaller pieces of plastic are then molded into new plastic products. I found out that if more people recycle plastic, then lesser plastics will end up in the landfills and pollute the environment. And because of this, Singapore will be able to reach our goal of our national recycling rate being 70% at 2030. We can recycle plastic by segregating our rubbish into recyclables and non-recyclables, and by disposing of our recyclables in designated recycling bins. This will allow us to reduce plastic waste and achieve sustainability with regards to the use of plastics. But remember to wash your plastic waste before recycling it, especially if it contains food products, as 60 to 70% of all plastic waste is usually contaminated and cannot be recycled. The next solution I found was reducing and reusing. Secondly, I found out that when supermarkets started charging for plastic bags on July 3rd, 2023, there was a 50 to 80% decrease in plastic bags taken in supermarkets, and this led there to be lesser plastic waste generated in 2023 as compared to the previous years. This shows that reducing the amount of disposable plastics used also helps curb plastic pollution. Some ways we can reduce the use of single-use plastics like disposable plastic bags are by using reusable tote bags instead. Whenever I go to the supermarket, I always bring along a reusable tote bag, as this helps to reduce the amount of plastic waste that ends up polluting the environment. Whenever I forget to take a tote bag and must buy a plastic bag, instead of throwing it out, I reuse it as things like trash bags or carriers to carry my PE attire in school. The final solution I found was choosing plastic alternatives. One last way we can achieve sustainability with regards to the use of plastics is by using plastic alternatives like biodegradable plastics instead. Biodegradable plastics break down over 3 stages. The first stage is biological breakdown, where the surface of biodegradable plastics is disrupted by environmental factors such as sunlight, temperature, and humidity. These factors create conditions for microorganisms to access and degrade the plastic. The second stage is biological reaction, where microorganisms use their enzymes to break down the plastic molecules into smaller ones, and these smaller molecules are then absorbed by microorganisms as food. The third stage is homogenization. Microorganisms then use these small molecules of plastic to create new organic compounds such as carbon dioxide, water, and biomass. These compounds can also be reused by other organisms in nature or can dissolve in soil or water without causing pollution. This helps us to reduce plastic pollution. However, factors like amount of sunlight received, temperature, and humidity can vary the amount of time that the biodegradable plastics take to break down. This varies from within 6 months to up to 2 years. Biodegradable plastics are considered as better alternatives to normal plastics as they leave a smaller footprint and also decompose to form organic matter such as carbon dioxide, water, and biomass, which doesn't pollute the environment, as compared to normal petroleum-based plastics, which just accumulate in landfills and cause pollution. Therefore, we should consider using better alternatives to petroleum-based plastics, like biodegradable plastics. Some other alternatives we can consider are paper, such as paper utensils, as paper is eco-friendly and decomposes much more quickly than plastic. Another alternative we can consider is metal, such as metal utensils, as it is also reusable and helps to reduce the amount of plastic used. In conclusion, we can achieve sustainability with regards to the use of plastics by 1. Recycling, as lesser plastics end up in landfills and pollute the environment, and the plastic is instead molded into other different types of plastic products. 2. By reducing and reusing, as this reduces the amount of new plastic needed and also reduces the amount of waste generated every year. And by 3. Choosing better alternatives. Choosing alternatives like biodegradable plastics, paper, or metal reduces the amount of plastic which pollutes the environment, as these alternatives are reusable or decompose more quickly than plastic, and therefore are better for the environment. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.